This is Tyler with Passkey Realty. I'm the broker, and today I have a guest on this podcast to talk about the Lee County schools. I'm super excited to have him. I'm going to let him introduce himself.
Hi, I'm Armor Persons. I'm the current school board chair, and I'm also the District 5 board member.
Awesome. I'm glad you came on today. Like I said, as before, I appreciate your time. I have a few questions, a little notes that I took just to kind of get the conversation started. I know that a lot of things are going on in the schools today and everything. So some of the stuff that I like to kind of know about in regards to the school system, I think we was talking a little bit about it, and Again, I'm just kind of pulling from here. I'm not in order. So I want to know a little bit more about the how AI and things like that are kind of how you're looking at that as far as the future goes.
Yeah. Well, I'm a firm believer that AI won't replace anyone, but someone can be replaced by someone who knows how to use AI. So you have to learn AI. So we're putting it in, especially into high school programs. They're learning it. Teachers are also using it to help with lesson plans. And the most exciting part is our administration's using it for data mining, so they can really tell how the school is doing, down to the very classroom and student.
Oh, that's amazing. I actually, that was one of the things that we were talking a little bit off camera, but I loved about that because, I mean, when you see, I'm sure it's going to help, like if you got a student that's maybe not doing so good in this subject or whatever, that data mining is going to be a big help, I think, overall, to really get them the help that they need and that kind of thing to make sure they're on task. So, and a lot of the teachers, are they learning anything to do with AI, or is that something new that they're beginning to do?
Yeah, they're having different training sessions.
Nice.
To help them out with that, and they're continuing education they take. So I think everybody's pretty much on board learning how to get involved with it more, and it's just going to continue.
Yeah, and I think one of the big things is that kids already now today, they know how to use it, and I think that it's important that they learn how to use it. But like you said, it's one of those things that I would imagine that it's not geared for them to use to take their critical thinking away. It's just there to enable them to be, better at whatever job or whatever scenario they can use it in, I'd imagine.
Yeah, and one of the things we don't want them to do is doing things that they should be doing on their own, like research and stuff like this, and said, oh, I did all that. The good news is, as AI gets better and better, there's also programs that can tell if a student used AI.
Right.
Their own work.
Right. Yeah. Checks and balances, if you will. Yeah. No, that's great. I think that's a healthy way of doing it, because you got to. I mean, it doesn't make sense otherwise, because you don't want them to use it for everything. So I think that's important. So one of the other things that I think about and look at is some of the most, I won't go into direct questioning, but just to give me of what's going on with some of the new things that just came up, the most recent with the students and the whole, protest scenario with them. What are some of the things that is happening with the school system and trying to navigate that whole thing that went on?
Yeah. Well, there was a Supreme Court ruling in 1969.
Okay.
Tinker versus Devine. And it said that students don't lose their First Amendment rights when they come through the front doors. So they have the right to protest. Mm-hmm. But the same ruling also said the school district has the ability to put some guardrails on there. And what we did, and what the state told us we should do, is that we should say, okay, you cannot do it during instructional time. That was the most important, because you're there to learn, not to protest.
Right.
Yep. Spam.
Okay.
Then the other thing is that they had to do it, well, not instructional time, would also be like during the lunchtime.
Right.
So that's what most of the schools did. And they can't cause a disturbance, so they were going to have them protest like on the football field, away from the classroom. So those were the two major things they were supposed to do. Most of the schools did that real well. We had 4 schools that did not do as well. The students decided they could do more than that.
Okay.
And they did not go back to class when they were supposed to, so they got marked absence. You get referrals for that. Some of them missed several classes. Well, actually, I think the most is like 2 classes.
Okay.
They went to lunch and just didn't come back into high school. And then the other thing is some of them were started shouting, unfortunately, vulgarities about ICE. That's another referral.
Yeah.
And some of them are marching up and down the hallways. That's disturbance. Another referral.
Yeah.
You see how they start to add up here?
Start to stay stacking.
And a few students even left the school without permission. And that's more of a suspension.
You know, that actually brings me to something I go on different things because there were some parents even complained about some of the kids kind of leaving the school or whatever, which again, like you said, they're not supposed to. And that's a good point to make. You know, I think that's one of the biggest points because they're not realizing the safety concern that goes in with that. I think that I'm glad you brought up the case law in regards to that,
right?
Because a lot of people don't know this, you know, and that's part of the reason why I even brought it up because you know what better person that knows that what to do or how that has been handled and stuff. So the fact of the matter is that when it comes to the case law and how they went to do this protest, there's ways for them to express that. But not necessarily some of the schools, like you said, had done such, others done better than this one, or whatever,
right.
So I think that that's a very important part of what you said. So thank you very much for actually naming something that it can show and shed light on this. And even if there's students watching this, even with this, I would tell you right now is like, I'm a big believer in the research, and this goes back to like, knowing these laws and understanding. You might know you got freedom of being able to protest, but you need to know what that entails when you're in instructional time,
Well, that's why we have to have some discipline for those that did not follow it. The ones who protested and did everything by the rules, I'll shout out to one of our high schools, East Lee.
Okay.
And they were excellent. They went out, did their 20 minutes at lunchtime, came back in. There was absolutely no problem. Nobody gets any referrals or anything for that. So that works out very well. The other thing to remember is that when they go out, they have to try to, be peaceful. That's the word I was searching for there. It's supposed to be a peaceful protest.
Sure.
And if they don't, there's penalties. And that's the learning experience for them, that you can't just go out and do anything you want to.
Right.
We had some students actually leave the school and stop traffic. And again, then the sheriff was called on that one because that's actually all school property.
Right.
But it was very small. We had about 3,000 students participate in the protest out of 100,000. So it's like 3%.
Okay, gotcha. Well, no, that's amazing. I mean, honestly, I'm glad you even shouted out the ones that had a good experience versus that, because it's one of those things that, like I said, misinformation goes around. It can be dramatized too. I'm not here to dramatize it. I'm just here to find that information,
right.
So that's awesome. I was really happy to even have that as an answer on there. So this kind of is another transition into this, not so much the protest part, but just in a sense of safety wise. What are some of the things that either last year, this year, or even previous years that have been implemented for school safety overall?
First off, I want to thank Sheriff Marcino. The SRO program is excellent. He does the training for our guardians also. So we have SROs at each school, depends on how large the school is.
Okay.
We have anywhere from 1 to like a small elementary school to 3 and sometimes 4 at a large high school because we have so many more students. But we were just awarded the safest school district in Florida.
Oh, wow.
Because of all the different levels of protection we have. When I first got on the board, we went to the state and asked for an appropriation to put what's called Open Gate. It's a weapons detection system. They walk through it. If they have anything that's a weapon, it will actually light up red at the top.
Okay.
And the students, that's at every single school. We're the only district in Florida that has it at every single school, including elementary. And it was just a couple of weeks ago that a 5-year-old was found to have a loaded pistol in his backpack. the student did not put it there. The parent did and was supposed to take it out. He just didn't want the student to see, his child to see the gun when he took it to the car, and he forgot. Okay. But the child could have found that, lifted up, said, "Oh, look at what I found," and accidentally shot it off and maybe hurt somebody.
Sure.
There was a case somewhere up north where a elementary kid, I think first grade, actually shot his teacher.
Oh, wow. That's insane.
Then we had another incident at a school where a mother was there to pick up their child early, and it went off. And so they ended up searching her purse, and she had a loaded gun and 2 large knives. And it turned out she was not the custodial parent.
Oh, man.
So we don't know what would have happened, but she was quickly stopped by the SRO there and arrested for that.
Oh, wow. That is, I mean, anything to make the kids safe. I mean, it's hard enough.
We have so many different things. Our new buses.
Oh, yeah.
With the cameras, we're catching people all the time, and they're getting a $225 ticket for passing with a traffic arm out. I did a bus ride just about 3 weeks ago, early in the morning on Palm Beach. One went right by us.
Oh, man.
So he was getting a $225 ticket. They say 90% of them don't do that again. I can imagine.
I can imagine so, yeah.
But we have taken in close to $800,000 the first month in fines.
And that was what I was going to ask too, because that was I probably didn't put that on my sheet, but it does. Where does that money go for those tickets? Does that help put money back into the school system?
It does. I mean, it is split a few ways because every one of those tickets have to be looked at by the sheriff's department. They have a special team doing that.
Okay.
Just to make sure, because it's AI generated.
Right.
As we were talking earlier, and they want to make sure that, yes, that truly is a violation. And then with the company that puts them in, there's no charge for any of the cameras.
Okay.
And these are really high-tech cameras, and there's I think 12 on every bus.
Okay.
No matter which side of the bus you pass, the front, the back, and inside.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of the bus. I've seen all the buses, but I've seen.
We had someone just the other day complain that a bus went through a red light. Well, we have the traffic cam on the front, and it showed that it was yellow when they entered.
Oh.
And you just can't slam on your brakes in a bus. It's just not safe for the kids in there.
Right.
When you're that close to where it might turn red. So they went through safely. I mean, we all have done that. It might have been a little bit red when they went through, but it was fine. But it's good to know these things. There's other things too. Every teacher has a badge. If there's a problem, I actually have one on me. If I push it one time and I'm in the school, it says send help. Okay. It's usually for someone that's sick, fallen down, hurt themselves. They just need an extra person there.
Right.
If they push it multiple times, that means this is an emergency. Send everybody, the cavalry. Okay?
Right.
And they call the sheriff's department and everyone else there.
Oh, wow. So there's actually little things that have already been, I mean, these are little things, but these are huge things at the same time.
We also have a lot of cameras throughout the school that can be monitored real time by the sheriff's department.
Oh, nice.
Not in the classroom, but in the hallways and things like that. And we'll also be monitoring that to find out, number one, who was causing all the disturbances in the protests.
Oh, yeah.
Saying all the vulgarities and things. It may take us a little while. Back to the protest again, all those that miss class, there's attendance taken every single class period.
Right.
Not just the beginning of the day, like when I went to school.
Right.
If you left in the middle of the day, no one would know.
Yeah, right.
But it's every six, so they know who's missed class because of that. So they'll be able to do the discipline. So I'm excited. I mean, that was the big part of my campaign when I ran 3.5 years ago, was safety. That was my number one concern. I mean, I want academics to do well, but I want a child to be able to safe when they leave the house, and I want them to be able to safe when they come back from school.
From what you've said with the cameras on the bus, the little badges with the safety there, I mean, it sounds like it was a promise kept at this point, because I feel like that essentially is one of the biggest concerns. I mean, I got a daughter and, stuff like that. So I get it when you go to high school, you want to make sure that it's safe, and I think that's a huge thing.
One thing I forgot to mention, again, there's so many.
Yeah.
All the doors lock. Once the classroom starts, the class instructional time, the door is locked.
Okay.
So if someone were to come into school and try to get in the room, it's locked.
It's locked. Okay.
They have to be unlocked from inside. So there's some things that if I told you we were doing, I'd probably have to shoot you.
Yeah.
There's a secret. We don't want everybody to know everything.
No, of course, I get it. You're fine. You're fine. No, that's good to know the details that's already been implemented. You can't show your hand, especially with something that's going to be public. I mean, I totally understand that. You gotta keep your secrets in regards to those, just to be on top of the
Right.
bad guy or bad person or whatever coming in there. So that's understandable. So, but I think that's honestly everything that you mentioned. It does put me at ease, even with just hearing this, because this is stuff I didn't even know. And for everybody out there that may or have not known, I think that this is a prime example of why a conversation should always happen, or inquire about something if you don't know. Don't jump to conclusions. Don't make your own opinion of something until you get all the facts. At least. So that right there, to me alone, was very informational, because like you said, they only took attendance one probably when you're going to school, and I'm probably in the same boat. They didn't have the technology that we have today. So technology is a big deal overall. So I think that that's huge. When it comes to some of the programs that are being offered, I know that the new school, Alvin, I know you touched on it, the AI is going to be one of the big things coming up. What are some of the, like, if somebody was to move to Lee County, right, as far as that? Now, I don't know if it is or not. That's why I'm going to ask, but is school choice still a thing right now?
Yes, very much so. You can actually go to any school in Lee County, you can apply, but unless you're within a certain radius, you have to provide your own transportation, and there has to be room if you're outside of the zones. We have different zones.
Okay.
There is scholarship money that goes if you want to go to a private school. They give you that, so you have that option also. We have several things that I think makes our schools better than, be honest with you, of any private school.
Okay.
Number one, we have an ROTC program that none of the private schools really have. And not only do we have a very good one, we have the largest one in Florida, actually the largest one in the nation. We have the most students in ROTC. And while most of them do not go into the military when they graduate from that, it teaches tremendous leadership and responsibility. Mm-hmm. And over 50% of them are girls in ROTC. Oh. They show the most maturity at that age.
Right.
I hate to say that compared to some of the guys.
Yeah.
But it's a great learning experience. For those not going to college, we have a tremendous career and tech program. We have 19 big silos from medical, veterinary, automobile, welding, plumbing. We have 911 operators being trained. We have culinary.
Oh, wow.
Fire academy people.
I did see those, yeah.
I mean, we have just so many aeronautics. So different schools offer different
That's
ones.
what I was about to ask, yeah. So different schools will offer, but all those you name it's just depending on what school.
Right.
That's why school choice is kind of important once they get to that level, because then they can pick something. I know that was that could be a huge thing for any child that's looking to get into something that's going to benefit.
Now, if your child's smart, a lot of people say, well, my child's really smart, I think they should go to a private school. Mm-hmm. Like, well, they'll probably get a good academic program there, learning. But do they get 2 free years of college? We have dual enrollment for all our public schools, and they can. I shake every person in my zone, from Riverdale, Lehigh, East Lee County, Gateway, all those schools. I'm up there shaking those thousands of kids' hands, but so many of them are graduating from high school with an AA degree.
Yeah.
Or enough credits to have an AA degree.
And that's a big deal. That's a huge deal.
It is. I mean, that's a lot of money.
Yeah. Imagine going 2 years of college after high school. You're spending money.
Yep.
And why do that when you can do it right now? That's the big deal. I think that I have a couple of even my daughter's looking to go that route. I think that that's going to be a big thing to help. And I think that even some of the students that because I participate in some of the sports programs and stuff like that to help sponsor some of them at one of the schools. And basically what I say is that, I've seen some of those kids come up and that's what they're doing. And it's already helped them tremendously because they already got, one step in the door. And now they're only paying for their bachelor's, that kind of thing. So I think that's a huge win overall, truly.
Yeah. 60% of our students have college credits when they graduate from high school.
That's amazing.
They have all these advanced courses from the International Baccalaureate program to ACE and some of the AP courses.
Yeah, and I think that's truly amazing because this doesn't happen everywhere. I mean, I'll tell you right now, I've been to different places asking different questions, and it doesn't happen everywhere. And then the same thing with the programs, like the firefighting. I know that I know the firefighting program has been going on for a while because my niece was in it and stuff like that. So those are always. And I even have somebody I know right now. One of the kids I know, he's going through it. So it's like it's really good for what they can do. So and it gives kids options.
Yes.
I know that it seems like they don't. In the past, meaning like many moons ago when I was in school, those options were not always readily available. You know what I mean? So the fact that you've kept up with these or even created something new, I think that's amazing, especially I still go back to the first part of the conversation, like, it's even better when I see, you're talking about AI and how it's going to be implemented in a certain school that's coming.
Right.
So I think that's truly amazing for what's going on in the school district and school choice being able to be an option, because no matter where you no matter where you live, no matter where you pick, you have this ability to do that. Now, one thing you touched on, you said something about a scholarship for, was that for the, if they wanted to go to
private school?
Private school.
Yeah. I call it a scholarship, but it's definitely a voucher is a better word for it. And they get it, and it goes into account. And so it's very good. And I have no problem. We're growing so quickly.
Yeah.
That I welcome charter schools. I welcome private schools.
Right.
Because we can only build schools so quickly. Our new high school we were just referring to, which will be mostly students from Lehigh, but it's just barely into Alva down Joel Road, Joel and Tuckahoe, a couple miles or 3 miles down the road from there, from the Lehigh boundaries. But it'll draws from a large area from across the river all the way to the East Lee County line. So it'll be big, but it's going to have, the AI in there. It's going to have a large agricultural program. I mean, because it's in a rural area. So we try to get the programs that fit the closest to it. Those that are close to the in town, maybe it could be something a little more like an Amazon warehouse programs that could make it for people there. We are going to have a career and tech for adults.
Okay.
Starting fairly soon. I want to eventually have one. They're called career and tech colleges. We have one in Cape Coral. We have one in Fort Myers. And I really want one in Lehigh. But we're going to start off with using the new school in the evening. Okay. So they can go and take courses there and get advanced certifications and all sorts of things.
Oh, talk about, that's going to help out for the job market.
Oh, big time.
Yeah, that's going to be a big thing. I mean, now with these classes for the adults, are they going to be a cost associated with this, or?
It's a minor cost. Okay. For the students, it is, no charge when we do it during the day. But the other ones are full. I mean, the ones in Cape Coral are full. The ones in Fort Myers are full.
So this one's going to be, this one,
and we're expanding those all the time.
That's amazing. That's truly amazing. I see a lot of stuff picked up like that. I think that's another way of, even at a small charge, I think it's a way of giving back to the community even more, because now you're talking about letting somebody that may not have a skill being able to get a skill and then being able to progress from getting that skill.
Right.
So I think that's,
I believe everybody has to have pathways when they graduate, especially from high school.
Yeah.
They can either go to college, but again, that's about 30% of the students. Yeah. And go in the military, or they can go into the workforce And there's a fourth option. They can stay home with their parents and play video games.
Yeah.
But we're hoping none of them do that.
Yeah. That's not a good, that's not good for society sometimes, unless they're making a living of something else. I don't know. They have
Up north, they say in the basement.
Yeah, in the basement.
But we don't have too many basements.
No,
here.
not in Florida. You don't get basements here. That's for sure. So I think that based on everything that you've really covered and from literally from the protests all the way to the new school, the safety, everything of that nature. Tell me a little bit about your, coming up, I guess was in August is coming. So tell me a little bit what your plans are for this new time period for election.
Well, right now, of course, our main focus is keeping the district moving along. We've got to finish out this year with the grades and get everybody over the hurdle. We got to get all the high school students we can to graduate. We had the highest graduation rates ever recorded last year.
Oh, nice.
In Lee County. Our average was 89.8, that's basically a 90. But that included the charter schools and the school board. Their charter schools are public schools,
right?
But we don't really control them at all.
Right.
They can do their own thing. Without the charter schools, we had a 95% graduation rate. That's all the brick and mortar schools like Riverdale, and Lehigh and East Lee and all those schools. In fact, Lehigh had the largest increase in graduation last year. They went up 8 points.
Oh, wow.
It went up from like an 89 to 97.
So even
89 to,
So, I mean, that goes to show you that things are changing in a positive way, especially in Lehigh Acres. I mean, you're talking about the education going up and that's a big deal, for not just, it's just for the people actually coming here. I mean, we were during I would call it the second boom of Florida in regards to 2020, 2021, somewhere around there. We had a lot of houses selling and things like that. So a lot of people make decisions based off of the school districts, and things of that nature, which is part of the reason why I have you is because when people say, hey, what's the best school or what are they doing? I just say Lee County. That's the way I would
answer.
Yeah. And that's probably the best answer because these are things that you're doing behind the scenes and even in front telling people about them. But, just like you said, I like the fact that you're involved because you even said when you're talking about the bus cameras and stuff, you did your own ride along. So it's not like you're just sitting back and watching everything going on. You got a hands-on feel for stuff, So I think that's a big thing. Even when you're talking about the report coming in about a bus moving and running a red light, supposedly, and the fact that you took a little initiative to look at that and put a hands on to that to make sure that everybody's being safe, at the end of the day.
I do want to clarify one thing. I sort of said that charter schools bring down our average. It's nothing against charter schools because some of those charter schools go after students that have dropped out.
Oh, okay.
And to get them try to get them to graduate, it's just excellent that they put forth that effort.
Sure.
It's just not as great a success as having your normal student body. Some charter schools are right up there, like some of ours with like a 99% graduation rate. But I do like to mention that a little bit. Lehigh area particularly is the fastest growing in Lee County for students. They divide the county into 5 districts, and that's pretty equal by adult population. Mm-hmm. But we have by far more students in ours. So because we have more families out here, and the families we have out here seem to have more kids.
Right. Yeah.
And so that it's a little bit in that direction. But we're one of the few counties that are still growing.
Yeah.
Many counties are losing students. I mean, in a hurry because they won't change anything. We're very forward thinking and always trying to make ourselves better. And our focus is becoming a world-class district and making a child that reach their highest potential. That's what we say before every meeting.
Yeah, and I think that's happening because I see changes all the time, and I talk to other people that go to other schools or their kids go to other schools, and it's way different. And I think the forward thinking is going to help people along. I think if anybody's watching this right now, I'm going to kind of mimic this, but I want to tell you that when it comes to I share the same belief that he originally said at the beginning in regards to AI, because a lot of people are afraid of something of that nature, but you got to learn how to use it. And I think that belief of not taking the job and it's just going to have to learn AI to be able to be an asset to somebody, or some company or some whatever your field is. I think that that's the most important thing. So that already, from the fact that I didn't even know this until today, until we spoke, and you have that into the new school essentially is going to have that.
Yeah, we're going to have an agricultural program there. It's going to be the first in the state to have technology and AI together. We're working with the University of Florida to design the high school program so they'll be able to move forward with that. So it's an excellent idea. We have a lot of 4-H programs, and Future Farmers of America, which are great programs. But when you add this, there'll be an extra feather in our cap to have that.
Oh yeah, because in that area like LaBelle and even Clewiston, I think still fall around. I had to double check the maps. It's been a while, but we have USDA loans that reach over in those areas because of the agricultural factor.
Yes.
So the fact that school is going to be there is going to basically enhance some of the kids that's been growing up in those areas, and they're really going to see something that they can use probably to something what they already know to do, but now they're going to be able to use the technology to go with it. So that's going to be a game changer in my opinion. I think that's huge. So good job on that. Overall, that's really nice. I like that. I'll tell you this. One of the other thing is like when you talk about right now, I'll pivot a little bit back to this just because I seen an article in different areas, not necessarily here. At least I haven't seen anything. But when it comes to the these kids and the protests and things of that nature, you quoted the case law, which I really think that's phenomenal that we have something to go by in regards to that. Now, are they anything happening? I haven't heard nothing here locally. I'm just bringing it up as a general question. But like, have you heard anything like in regards to is ICE going into schools or anything of that nature and actually, going after kids or anything like that nature that you've seen?
No, not at all. I've had no reports at all on that. If a child were to be swept up, it'd probably be because they were arresting another family member and the child wanted to go with them, that kind of thing. I do know we work closely, the sheriff's department and everything, with the ones that are incarcerated.
Okay.
And we have a juvenile justice system with a lot of kids in there. We have 33 kids in there that are basically in jail.
Oh, wow.
And they're still getting education. I just toured that last Friday, matter of fact. And it's, they have cement beds with just a mat on them, and they have to walk with their hands behind their back at all time. And I mean, it's just like being in prison. They're there for 21 days, but it's a great learning experience. Hopefully.
Oh yeah, no, hopefully.
I mean, get over that. But ICE hadn't even come in there because of the age. You have to be a certain age. I think it's over 14 before they can even be turned over to ICE.
Okay. No, I was just curious because I've seen it, not necessarily even in Florida, I've heard this, but I've heard it another way. But again, it's just for informational to put out there, because a lot of people think, oh, they're coming into the schools, they're doing this. So, with all this technology we talked about and bringing this to the light, it's just better to inform people. That's the main thing. So
we don't even track whether someone is illegal or legal. We're not allowed to do that.
Right.
So it makes it a little bit difficult if they were to come in and say, I want to see all your illegal kids. Not a clue.
Yeah, it doesn't exist. We don't know.
We can say, we have kids from 150 countries speaking 130 languages. All those could be.
Right. Yeah, that's about it. I mean, like I said, I know information out there kind of gets out of the way, so that's the reason why I bring that up. So thank you for putting that to bed.
Well, it did have an effect when it first, all the fear went out there. All of a sudden, our attendance rates went down there for a while. And actually, even though we grew this year, I believe our kindergarten class was a little bit smaller because they're thinking like, maybe I don't want to put my child in this year. I'll wait a year just to see, because they were worried about that maybe happening, even though it's not.
Not right.
I think it was a fear.
Well, that's good. Hopefully somebody that's watching this that has that fear, where, right now, you said it's not happening. So that's a plus. And like you said, even if they come in and say, let me see, there's no existing record of this,
Correct.
there's no list to go say, well, this one. It doesn't work like that. So I think that's very important, because I come from, my whole thing is the reason why I brought up a lot of this again is for information purposes, because, I know I have, on my wife's side, she's, Latina, and I like I'm in that culture for 21 years, you know what I mean? So I get that there's a lot of information that's being put out there, and this is some of the stuff that I like to bring up and to clear the air, so to speak,
The majority of our district is Hispanic. Mm-hmm. We have like 44%, 33% white, and I believe it's like 16 or 17% black is how they listed on the demographics, and then the other.
Right.
So, I mean, we're a majority minority district is what is considered.
Right. And that's good to know. I mean, a lot of that stuff is very good to know, because I don't want, the last thing that I would hate to see for any parent out there is for them to essentially, have to hold their kid back because of fear. That's the worst thing that you can do. And any sense. And I know, and that's hard as a parent already, but again, this is before I even knew some of the safety features, thinking about a kid going to school, but not knowing that some of these features and all this stuff, safety features, even the safety features we didn't discuss, but, all these features that are available or active, I should say, in this case. So I think that was a good overall view to know more about that. So I think that's huge. And going into this term of knowing, you're going to be up, I guess, in August for the new election and stuff like that. So I appreciate you actually coming here and giving all these insights on this. Are there anything you want to speak in regards to the coming up election or anything of that nature?
Well, I just want people to remember, like when I got elected almost 4 years ago, first thing I had to do, I was sworn in, had to come in and sign a $250 million line of credit for the district. And I was elected chair at that time, my first year as chair, because of Ian, the hurricane.
Oh, yeah.
We had all that damage. And that was coming off all of the COVID. Mm-hmm. So you had kids that couldn't learn to read correctly because they had masks on.
Yeah.
Luckily, we were one of the first states to try to get rid of the mask. And then with everything else, and then all of a sudden we had homeless people without, that kind of thing because of the hurricane, closing the schools down for a while. So it put us a year behind almost everybody else in the state.
Oh, wow.
And so we worked real hard. I came in and I said, well, we're going to do this and this and this and this, but it really became, we got to get over Ian. Got to get everything back to working.
Yeah.
We do have a new elected superintendent, first one in over 50 years here. Everybody else, 4 had been appointed by the board.
Okay.
And there were quick turnovers and lots of arguments and things. And so the district, and I supported strongly having an elected superintendent.
Oh, nice.
So that superintendent independently runs the operations.
Yep.
The board is in charge of passing the budget, so she knows what she has to work with. We pass contracts and things when they're brought to us, when she says we need this or this and this, we ask questions, and we don't always pass them.
Right.
Those kind of things. But she runs the day-to-day operation.
Okay. Nice.
So it's difficult. But we have, especially in the Lehigh area, we have another high school and middle school planned off of 82 or in Sunshine area where they're putting in the new roads.
Yep.
Over in there, and an elementary school.
Yeah, that's I did see some DOT plans for Sunshine to connect, kind of going across.
And that'll be a big one there for the growth, because we're forecast to have another 5,000 or 6,000 students here by 2030.
Yeah, I'm working on myself, just working on some investors to come for some of the commercial land that's along 82, because we need that's the next thing too. I mean, with all the schools and the infrastructure, and you're going to need certain, you're going to need different things. We're getting there slowly but surely. We're definitely getting there, and I'm excited to see change. And one last thing, I just want to know if you know any, if you even have an opinion on this matter. I mean, because it's Lehigh Acres. And you look at Fort Myers, you look at Cape Coral, and, the one thing, the difference between Cape Coral and Fort Myers and then Lehigh is technically a town. It's not a city. Do you have anything in regards about the incorporation or non-incorporation?
The tax base, for what I understand on Lehigh, is less. I mean, they think we don't get enough all the time. I hear that, but they actually get more than they would pay in taxes if they were running it themselves as a city. The tax base isn't there. Where Fort Myers it is, and Cape Coral it is, and like Sanibel, Bonita, and Estero, they all have a lot of tax base there. So now, for schools, we're okay either way. It wouldn't bother us a whole lot, but I'm afraid that it might actually hurt Lehigh. So, but I'm not an expert.
Right. No,
it's just incorporated or not. I will say that. I stayed at Holiday Inn one time.
It's just a general. I just like to bring it up as a general because there's a lot of people that they have certain, maybe there's certain knowledge that you have behind the scenes of how that budget wise and what that would look like. But I always appreciate anything, no matter what it is, information on that, because I always try to ask everybody that I talk to in regards to it.
The other thing I'm struggling with a little bit here is whether we should have single member districts or countywide. And the school, we have 5 single member districts, for just like the commission has 5 districts, but they're all countywide. But we also have 2 at large. So if you live in Lehigh, you get to vote for 3 of the 7 board members. Okay. Where they're talking about making the county single member districts, which means you only get to vote for 1 of the 5. And, so that's bad. The other part from the other side, I'll present both sides real quick, is simply that sometimes the people that win their district don't win countywide.
Gotcha.
Okay. And that's why a lot of people say they want only someone from there, they have to live in the district.
Right.
But they want someone that maybe they voted for. So that's going to be a big issue on the ballot coming up. That's the only reason I mentioned it there. I just need to really think both ways. Do they want to lose, some of their voting? Because right now on county commission, that's who they're going to be talking about. They get to vote for all 5.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's going to be,
versus only 1.
Yeah, that's going to be, I think that's going to be a different.
It's going to be contentious. So maybe you can get someone on your podcast to talk about that. Someone knows more than me.
Yeah, no, I think that's a very valid point. I think that when we come into this and not knowing the details behind something, I think that bringing it to light will help start the conversation some way.
Now, I work closely with whoever is District 5 county commissioner.
Okay.
Right now is Trish Bertosky. Before it was Mike Greenwell before he passed away. And, I've had meetings with the new one already, trying to talk about things like bus stops, how we can make them safer and different things on those lines, and roads that help the schools.
Yeah, I mean, because you got to remember the buses. Well, I'll tell you this much. From my own personal experience in regards to the buses, this year has been phenomenal overall. I don't know if it was last year, year before. I don't know when it was, but I know we were struggling at one point with the buses and things of that nature. So this year has been phenomenal.
Oh yeah, we had about 8,000 kids late to school every single day. That means they're not learning.
Right.
You miss first period, you just don't learn whatever they were going to teach there. And we had too many choices. We talked about choice earlier.
Yeah.
Now, instead of having like 8 or 9 schools you can go to from the same bus stop in elementary school, you have 3.
Right.
And it makes it a lot better.
Yeah, and I knew that was going to have to be a situation. But Now, I think it's I think that it's good that there's been some kind of guidelines set up for that, because school choice is still important. I think that is valid, and I think that that you do have to set some boundary, because there is a when you got too many choices, too many options, then you're starting to hurt the learning of the kid. But due to the fact, the way that you narrowed that down, I think that that's perfect for the moving forward anyways. Like you said, forward thinking, that's the main thing.
That's what we have to do.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else you want to bring up before I close it out, or you?
Well, we are on the busing, just to stay on that topic.
Sure.
We are starting to do the high schools a little more. For instance, I have one student that leaves at 3:50 in the morning because he wants to attend Dunbar, and he lives on Estero, way down there. Oh, no, in Bonita. So he goes by Bonita High School, Fort Myers South, Estero High School. He goes by 3 to get to Dunbar, because they have a great career STEM program, science type thing. So they're trying to cut some things down like that. The new school's going to help, because I can't tell you how many students from Lehigh go down Joel. They'll go right past where our new school's going to be.
Oh, yeah.
But they go to Riverdale.
Yeah.
So they won't have to go nearly as far.
Right. That's going to cut down a lot.
Yeah, it will. And but schools, people, they create traffic.
Yeah.
The one thing I get told a lot is, if you build a school, the development is going to come all around them. Well, some people like to move near where schools are, but development is really pushed by people.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because I was just up north going through Georgia and Alabama a couple of weeks ago, and there were a lot of rural schools with nothing around them.
Yeah.
The school didn't bring any development, but Lehigh is growing very quickly, and there's only so much room, and people will, as you know, as a realtor, they're going to expand further out.
Yeah, you're going to have, so a lot of the thing is that there's so much land, especially where the school's being built. There's still so much land in that whole entire area. And a lot of people, they're being able to buy the land now to develop their house on, or whatever they decide. But the idea behind it is it's all residential, and in that particular area, you can get quarter acres and half acres of land. And I think that a lot of people are going to start developing those areas now, because I know that some builders in the last 2 or 3 years have built out in that particular areas, but the selling took a little longer because it is a little more rural. However, with the new school coming in, I think that's all changing.
Yeah.
And like you said, that's all more to do with people wanting to be, and that's part of the other thing, is like knowing that there's school choice, knowing that they can find something closer to the school that that they've done their research on, or whatever. Because like you said, each school has its own thing. Right. And you said, what, Bonita, the kid is traveling to Dunbar just to get to a certain program, which, you know what? I think that that's amazing that they're doing enough research to say, hey, this is where I want to go to school because of this program. So I think that that's amazing. And the fact is that when the new school comes, I think that same thing's going to happen, and you're going to see more building, and you're going to see a lot more inventory in that area, because right now you don't have that much inventory in that particular area. I mean, there's some out there, but not as much as if you go to around the other schools, for sure. So that's great. Well, I really do appreciate your time today.
Thank you for helping get the word and concepts all out there for everybody. I mean, programs like this are really important. People need to be informed to make the right decisions.
And I agree 100%. So I thank you. And we'll definitely, after election time and after all that, we'll get you back and see what new stuff has come out. So,
there's always new stuff coming.
I know, it's forward thinking. That's it. So, well, thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.